Hello friends, this is Lindsey with Garage Gym Reviews. Today we are going to talk about the ProForm 2000. Now it is a mid-level treadmill that does offer some more features than something like a budget-friendly treadmill does, but it's still not going to have all the features that the more expensive treadmills do. However, I do think there is a lot of value in this video because there's a couple call-outs I want to make, whether that's positive or negative about this treadmill. Also, if you want to see more reviews on treadmills, rowers, recovery, saunas, cold tubs, whatever it is, this is the channel to be at. So make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Also, if you want to go ahead and purchase this, use the link below the like button. When you use that link, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does give us a small commission. And lastly, this was sent to us by ProForm. However, as always, this is a transparent review. Now, in terms of its price, it's something I always like to start off because price is a huge determining factor on whether or not we can purchase something. This treadmill is priced at $1,499. Now, there is financing available on the website if you choose to go that route. They also offer free shipping with all of their purchases of any treadmill from ProForm. And then there is a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you decide for any reason you don't want to have this treadmill, you can send it back to the company. However, it is a big piece of equipment and something I probably wouldn't want to send back, and just all the hassle that comes along with sending anything back. I cannot even send like a letter in the mail. You think I'm sending back a treadmill? Absolutely not. So be sure this is a treadmill you want before you purchase it, is my advice to you. With this treadmill, it does come with a 10-inch touchscreen. Now there are a couple of things I don't really like about the touchscreen, and this is kind of my first call out to this treadmill. One, I think 10 inches is fine. I think it's an appropriate size for this treadmill and its price point. However, there is no maneuverability with the screen, so you can't pivot it, you can't move it up and down, which it's kind of set at a good level for me, I am almost 5'5", so it feels like an appropriate height for me. But if you are shorter than that or taller than that, it probably isn't a good fit. Like, you can't move the screen to meet your eye, and I think it might just be a little bit annoying. The other thing I want to say about the touchscreen is it's not the most responsive touchscreen that I have used. There was a couple times where I was trying to change incline, trying to change speed, and I had to hit the button a couple times in order for it to respond. Again, not a deal breaker, but definitely something to know about it. Now, this does come with a 3.0 CHP. I think that is a great motor size for those of us who want to do a lot of walking, some jogging, a little bit of running. But if you are somebody who plans on running more than 5 miles a day, I just think that you're probably going to need a bigger motor size than that 3.0. And it's not just me, lots of people agree with that fact. So I would say just know going into your purchase, like if you are somebody who is planning to train for a half marathon, a marathon, you're adding up a ton of miles throughout the week, you're going to want to find a treadmill with a higher motor size. But for those of us doing mostly walking, jogging, maybe just using this as an accessory movement to get steps in through the day, I think it's totally great motor size. Now, this does come with a 20 by 60 inch deck, and then it also comes with a 12% incline and goes all the way up to 12 miles per hour. Now, I will say it did take a little while for me to go from 0 to 12 miles per hour. In fact, it took me almost 24 seconds. I timed it. The same thing was true with the incline. When I raised the incline from 0 to 12%, it took almost an entire minute for it to reach that full incline height. That is a lot slower than what we see with other treadmills. So again, not a deal breaker, just something to be aware of. Now, on their website, they say that it has ProShocks cushioning. I think this is very minimal cushioning on this treadmill. It reminds me a lot of the cushioning on something like the Soul F63 or the Soul F65. Not a deal breaker, but if you are somebody looking for a higher cushion deck, I would look at something like NordicTrack 1250 or NordicTrack 1750 because this is definitely a little lackluster. In terms of kind of its comfort features, it does have a hydraulic mechanism on the deck, so it makes moving it and then lowering it a lot more easy, especially if you're somebody who maybe struggles lifting heavier weight. I don't think this was a heavy treadmill to move or to lift the deck on. I also like a couple of the features. So it has water bottle holders, and then it also has a media shelf. Now, this is something that I like to call out because with the new models of NordicTrack 1250 or 1750, there's no media shelf. And I think that they took that away because all of a sudden iFit programming allows for streaming services on the device. However, with this, even though it does allow for streaming apps and like Netflix, Prime Video, Spotify, it still allows you to have a place to set your phone or your iPad just to be able to easily see it, and I do like that. The weight capacity on this is 350 pounds, and it is made of steel uprights and then a steel frame. So overall, I actually think this is a very sturdy machine. When I moved the treadmill up to 12 miles per hour, again, it had no sort of shake. Now, is it the quietest treadmill? Definitely not. I mean, you can definitely hear the tread moving around that deck pretty loudly. It's definitely not the most quiet, but most treadmills aren't necessarily super quiet. However, I would just say, again, this is middle of the range, kind of like with everything about this treadmill. Like, there's some good features, there's some not great features, and then most of it is just kind of mid for me. The footprint on this is 60.6 inches high, 24.6 inches wide, and then 73.2 inches deep. Again, pretty easy to move around. The entire treadmill in the box weighs only 249 pounds. I say only 249 pounds. I know that that is heavy, but when we compare it to a lot of other treadmills that we move around in the warehouse, this one definitely felt lighter. The warranty on this is 10 years on the frame, 2 years on parts, and then 1 year on labor. Now, know with the warranty going into this, is just like NordicTrack, you have to keep this in a climate-controlled area in order to keep that warranty eligible. So if you do have a home gym that is in your garage and you don't have any sort of like mini split or anything that would qualify under that warranty guideline, then the warranty can be voided out. Now, with this ProForm treadmill, it does come with iFit programming. iFit programming costs $396 a year for a family membership. Now, iFit programming itself has 4.75 stars out of over 20,000 reviewers. It honestly is probably one of my favorite programs to use. And some people, even in our YouTube comments, will kind of complain about different features of either like a NordicTrack treadmill or a ProForm treadmill, but every single one says or like ends the statement with, but iFit programming is the best. So I do think you kind of have to weigh, like, do you want really excellent programming or do you want like a really quality treadmill? I think with this one, again, you have excellent programming through iFit and then kind of a mid-level treadmill. With iFit programming, you do have smart features available, and with this treadmill, it's no different. So you have auto trainer control, which essentially means that as you take a class, your trainer will automatically set your incline and speed along your route. So you're just going to be able to follow along with the trainer's instructions. And I say this in every video, guys, but it makes for a hands-free experience, something that I really like. But if you don't like it, you can override that function. The assembly on this is actually really easy. Now, we did have 2 people assemble it. However, after talking to them, they said one person could easily assemble this. There wasn't a lot to it, especially knowing that you don't have somebody that needs to hold a screen like we find with a lot of other treadmills that we assemble. Now, here's kind of my comparison. I love the Sole F85. It's around the same price point. It has a couple better features. So it has a bigger deck, a bigger motor size, a higher incline, but it doesn't come with iFit programming. However, I think the F85 is a better treadmill as a whole, but I think that the ProCarbon 2000 has the iFit programming and is still a decent treadmill. So when I'm going into it, I would basically ask myself, if I was gonna purchase this, do I want a really solid treadmill or do I want a good treadmill with great programming? If you don't want great programming, probably don't buy this treadmill. Buy something like the Sole F85. If you want this price point with really solid programming, then I do think this is a good enough treadmill. Now, a lot of people ask, like, NordicTrack and ProForm uses both iFit programming. They're kind of under the same umbrella. So what differentiates the NordicTrack treadmills from the ProForm treadmills? And there are a lot of different factors, but in a broad sense, I'm probably gonna go with NordicTrack over ProForm. That's just my personal opinion, and it's based on one thing alone, and that is basically that I feel like NordicTrack offers a better cushion deck than a lot of the ProForm treadmills that I have tested. That's just my opinion. If you have a different opinion, definitely let us know in the comments below. And do you feel like good programming overrides just kind of a mid-level treadmill? Let us know your thoughts. This has been Lindsey with Garage Gym Reviews. Peace.